Christmas, everyone. If you're just waking up, you've got Courtney Cronin, Aaron Goldhammer sitting in on Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2 on this beautiful Christmas morning. It's still early where the two of us are at, so no gifts have been opened currently. But we've got 2 more hours, and we can go absolutely crazy here on ESPN Radio and have a lot of holiday fun in the process. This show, as always, presented by Progressive Insurance. I'm actually going to open up the phones right now. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Dr. Pepper call-in line is open. How are you spending the holiday? We had some great calls this morning, Aaron. People on their way to work, people on their way home from work, people going out into the community to spread some holiday cheer. It's also the first night of Hanukkah.
Right.
But since it is 8 o'clock Eastern time,
yes.
I know that people who have children often get up at like 5 in the morning because once people know that Santa's eaten the cookies and he's had his milk and he's been down your chimney, it's time to get up and open gifts. And I want to know if anybody's gotten any cool sports gift, whether it's a Juan Soto Mets jersey, whether it's a signed football from Patrick Mahomes. I know I'm shooting for the moon right now. Maybe this is me trying to wish some of these things into my stocking later today. But I'd like to know if anybody's got them out there. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. You can hit us up over the next 2 hours, and we would love to hear from you on this wonderful Christmas morning.
Now, I remember one of the coolest sports gifts I ever received, and I believe it was a Hanukkah present from my grandparents. For some reason, they would always go to this auction in San Francisco. So I often got, gifts from San Francisco sports, and I was a bit of a San Francisco Giant fan growing up. I grew up in Denver, and the Rockies hadn't arrived yet. This was like in the 80s. One Hanukkah, I opened up a small package, and inside was an autographed baseball from Willie Mays with a certificate of authenticity that is still in my childhood bedroom where I grew up in Denver. I have no idea how much it's worth. I would never sell it just because I always connect it back to my grandparents. But that's the more I think about it, he's probably the greatest player in baseball history, or amongst them. I guess there are people who now think it's Shohei Ohtani. But yeah, a Willie Mays baseball is probably the coolest sports gift I ever received.
I don't know if I can top that. I was racking my brain about sports gifts that I had gotten over the years. I know I got a Sammy Sosa jersey back in the, late 90s when I was growing up in Chicago. And I'm sure I still have it somewhere. But that was one that I remember specifically opening on Christmas morning. Do you remember when Nintendo 64 came out? I believe it was 1998.
Yeah.
So my mom and my dad got my brother, it was the kit. It was a box set that came with a couple different video games in it. One of which was the Wayne Gretzky NHL game. And I can remember my brother opening that gift and just doing laps around the living room, screaming because he was so excited about this one video game when, and I think we got GoldenEye in there as well. But I just can specifically remember that as a sports gift. There's so much to, there's so many presents every single year, but there's always those 1 or 2 that really stick with you that, you will remember forever. I'm trying to think. I know I've gotten experiences before, tickets to sporting events. Back when the Bulls were good, we would go to Bulls games after eating Christmas dinner on the 25th. That certainly doesn't happen anymore, maybe in a couple of years.
Yeah,
but,
the Bulls not on Christmas Day anymore, Courtney.
You know what I'd love to know? The fans that decide that Christmas is going to be their day when they go out into, to go support their favorite team. Are you going to the Steelers game today? How are you celebrating your holiday? Are you going down to, you're going to be in Houston? Are you going to be there to watch the Texans and the Ravens? Are you more excited about Beyonce? There's a lot going on today. We've got 5 NBA games. I believe you and I have coined that a quintuple header that starts out with Knicks and Spurs at noon Eastern time over on ABC. And then it ends with the Nuggets and the Suns later in the night. We've got 2 NFL games. I believe there's some bowl game action on as well. This is a great sports day. We don't really look at Christmas as that or think of it as, the divisional round in the playoffs in the NFL. That's a day that's been coined one of the best days in sports. And you can think about, March Madness, all of that. Christmas is high key one of the better sports days of the year.
Yeah, and it's become that in part because the NFL has, to some people, invaded it. But, I'm hoping today to actually possess a remote control for my television. And if I want to watch NBA and NFL, I can. You know what we need, though, Courtney? Somebody's got to invent the ability to jump from one app to the other with one touch of one button. Here's my problem. The NFL games today are on Netflix, okay?
Mm-hmm. First time ever. It's we'll see if they buffer or if we have seamless, no technology issues with this.
And then not a sponsor, even though they should be. I have YouTube TV for my cable access, okay? And sometimes I watch things also on ESPN Plus if they're ESPN products. So to get from the ESPN app to the Netflix and then back to I'd love one button to be able to push. I know we have Where to Watch, which is an awesome feature on the ESPN app, but I wish there was a way to jump from one to the other. So what I've decided I'm doing today, I am going to the iPad. I'm going to go maybe one game on the TV side and then one game on the iPad so that I can have both things running simultaneously. And then I don't need to be able to switch the channels from one back to the other. That's the setup that I'm going with.
I'm surprised that that's not how you normally watch games. That's what I do. I've got my laptop out. So when the Monday night doubleheaders happen a couple times during the year, I will have one game on the big TV and one game on my laptop. Then I don't have to switch in between the two. Now, if I had that real money, that Goldhammer money, I'd have an iPad too. So I'd have 3 different monitors up with all these games. I could do that for all the NBA games today too.
I don't have Goldhammer money. I just have children. And when you have children, if you don't have an iPad, you can't survive. It's like a must. It's like a must purchase when you have kids. So
all right, 888-SAY ESPN 888-729-3776. What are you watching for today? Are you thinking that the Chiefs are going to roll the Steelers in Pittsburgh? Are you more excited about the Beyonce concert that just so happens to be taking place at a Ravens and Texans game? And if you got a great gift, what is it? 888-SAY ESPN 888-729-3776. Let's go out to Chris in Virginia. Chris, good morning. Merry Christmas to you and yours. What was under your Christmas tree?
I got myself a hydro-dipped Philadelphia Eagles signed Brian Dawkins helmet.
Ooh, one of the hardest hitting safeties in NFL history. Is your favorite Eagle ever?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And this was a self gift. This was a gift that you gave to yourself, Chris. Is that right?
Pretty much. Just kind of had the wife help me sign off on it, but yeah, she wrapped it, put it under the tree for me anyway.
Where is it going? Where is it going to sit on a mantle? Is it going in an office?
It's going to go right next to a signed jersey on the wall.
That's an awesome gift. And I honestly, Chris, thanks so much for the call. I think sometimes, Aaron, the best gifts are the ones that you pick out for yourself and you give to your significant other and be like, hey, gift this for me for Christmas. Yeah. I made your job easy. You're welcome, first and foremost. But you got something that you know that you'll love, and the other person then just gives it to you. Yeah. I think it's a great idea, great strategy all the way around. Rebecca in Arkansas, you're on Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Good morning. Merry Christmas. How are things down in Arkansas?
Good morning and Merry Christmas. Other than not being a white Christmas, it's okay because I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, so I'm used to having white Christmases. So I still haven't gotten used to not having snow on Christmas, but it's all good. I just wanted to say, first off, I'm up every day. I listen to Unsportsmanlike. That's just what I do every day, and then I just stay awake because my husband works at night, so I stay awake to make him breakfast so it's ready when he comes home so he can eat and go to bed and get his rest. I'm going to be watching, of course, my Chiefs play, and your co-host, he seems to think, they're going to lose. He reminds me a lot of Michelle Smallman, who kept saying, I'm never going to doubt the Chiefs. Yet that's all she's done, and that's all he's doing, despite the fact that they keep showing every week, hey, doubt us. This is what we do. We win. May not be pretty, but we win.
Rebecca,
you are so right on 14 wins this season. I think Rebecca's got it down on lock. I didn't know Michelle Smallman was such a Chiefs doubter, but hey, they're in line for the 1 seed yet again.
They're a bit lucky, Courtney, but it's also jealousy. I mean, I watch the Cleveland Browns every week. Yeah, right, exactly. So just take it with pride. I think they've become one of the most hated teams in professional sports just because they're so good. And that's what happens. When you're in all the commercials and you've won back-to-back Super Bowls, all of a sudden you're not the upstart anymore. You're the team everybody wants to see lose.
I get that. I don't want to see your Browns lose. I'd like to see them win. I want to see all teams do well because it's Christmas and I'm in the giving mood today. So that's the energy I'm bringing on this Wednesday. Tomorrow it'll be a completely different story. We've got plenty that we'll be reacting to. Plus, there's another NFL game on a Thursday. It's the Bears. It's the Seahawks. It's a game that I will be at. And there's quite a bit at stake there, at least for one team. Gabriel in Orlando, you are on Unsportsmanlike. I heard that you are going to an NBA game today. So is that whose idea was it to celebrate Christmas like that? Is this your Christmas gift?
The Christmas gift is for the game tomorrow, Magic Heat. And I'm a big fan of both teams. And I'm going to the game tomorrow, and I don't really know who to represent.
Well, how can you be? Hold on. Gabe, I love you and Merry Christmas, okay? How can you be a fan of two teams who are both in the same conference, in the same state? Explain this to me.
I got family from Miami. I've been to many Miami playoff games, and I've been to many Orlando Magic games with friends and family and have a lot of Magic jerseys I can wear.
I mean, the gear is a big part of it, I think, that Gabe has the right idea about. Like, you got to make sure that you're going to the game decked out to the nines, and whichever team you have more jerseys of, that's an easy way to become a fan.
No, I think you got to be a Magic fan because the Heat are like, they're so, you watch Evan Cohen on this show every day, and they're so arrogant, and they think their culture is better than everybody else's culture. They've won a bunch of championships. The Magic have been to a couple finals, but, Courtney, they've never really won anything, and they're the more exciting team right now for sure. The Heat are old and beatable and need a fresh jolt of somebody else's stars, which is how they always win. Orlando is the team that I think is more likable and more rootable at this point.
And that's the team that you were telling me when we were doing the Courtney Did You Know, all the NBA superlatives from the first 2 months of the season. That's the team you were telling me is most injured in the NBA. Is that still current, or was that just the last couple of weeks?
They've been the most banged-up team with important players that nobody has talked about. Like, of course, Joel Embiid's hurt. That's not breaking news for anybody. But they've lost Banchero. They've lost Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner, and yet somehow they're still well over 500 and real contenders in the Eastern Conference. Look out.
Kevin in New Jersey, Merry Christmas to you. What are you watching today in the sportsverse? Because we have a whole plethora of things that can capture our attention. We got Kevin?
Kevin.
No, Kevin. Well, Kevin, if you're out there, Merry Christmas.
Get a new phone for Christmas, Kevin.
Yeah, go to T-Mobile and get a new phone. Maybe you'll be watching some NFL today as well. Can you keep the phones open for the next couple hours? 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. We appreciate you here on Unsportsmanlike, spending part of your Christmas morning with us here on ESPN Radio and over on ESPN2. Straight ahead, the Ravens and the Texans are playing a game at a Beyonce concert tonight. How is that one going to shake out? Courtney Cronin and Aaron Goldhammer telling you next on Sportsmanlike, ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
The NBA on Christmas Day on ESPN Radio. Tip-off with the Spurs and Knicks is at noon Eastern. Followed by the Timberwolves and Mavericks.
Christmas gets away. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
A Christmas Day doubleheader on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes, placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Adam Schefter here with Vivid Seats. We've got some late-breaking news coming out of the stands. According to multiple sources, Vivid Seats fans are scoring rewards on every purchase and at a rapid pace. Obviously, these rewards are a game changer, and coupled with their MVP-worthy ticket selection, why get tickets anywhere else? Don't drop the ball this season. Shop with Vivid Seats and earn rewards on every ticket. And as the official ticketing partner of ESPN, Vivid Seats is offering you $20 off your first $200 ticket purchase with code Schefter. That's code Schefter.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Jets Pizza is offering a special deal when you spend $25. Just use promo code 5ADD. That's the number 5ADD and specify Jets bread or cinnamon sticks for only $5. Combine that with their current $5 off pizza promos and you can cheer on the Illini while enjoying hot pizza with your favorite Jets bread or cinnamon sticks. What a deal. You spend $25, enter 5ADD for Jets bread or cinnamon sticks for just $5. Jets, better because it has to be.
Are you looking for a career, not just a job? Paul's is looking for experienced fabricators and millwrights to join their team on both the first and second shifts. Paul's offers above average pay, 2 weeks paid vacation, get a company bonus, health, vision, and dental, their 401k with a match, plus tuition reimbursement. Experience what being part of Paul's family feels like when being inspired by the positive culture. Let Paul's create big possibilities for your career and life. Equal opportunity employer. Apply online. paulsmachine.com.
If you're in the market for a new car battery, you could go to one of those big box stores, except there's no guarantee you'll be served by an actual car expert.
Clean up in aisle 3.
You could pick a battery off the shelf, except it might be close to expiring. Or you could just come into Interstate. Don't make a big box store blunder. With competitive prices and a more personal, reliable approach, Interstate Batteries is the clear-cut choice if you want to guarantee yourself a new and trustworthy car battery. They're open and ready to serve you at 2504 North Mattis Avenue in Champaign.
Solar companies are on the rise, here today and gone tomorrow. Rector Solar and Roofing family roots back 4 generations, living and working in Central Illinois, with the goal to take the confusion out of replacing a roof or adding solar panels to your home or business. With all the incentives and rebates now available, solar is more affordable than ever. Let a knowledgeable representative take the worry and guesswork out of solar and get a free quote. Discover the Rector Factor for solar. Call 217-281-7000 or visit rectorsolar.com.
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is having their biggest sale of the year, December 26th through January 1st. Get up to 80% off clearance items at Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. And enter to win one of 2 free GE Profile 2-in-1 washer-dryer combos valued at $2,900 each. Don't miss their biggest sale of the year. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is located at 1510 North Neal in Champaign. Dick Van Dyke Appliance World's biggest sale of the year, December 26th through January 1st. Don't miss it.
First night of Hanukkah to those who celebrate. If you are out and about, getting ready to go to family, doing some last-minute Christmas shopping. If you're on your way to work, we just appreciate you spending part of your day with us. Now, this is the second game of 2 that are taking place today on Netflix. We've never had this before, Aaron. It's going to be a unique experience, hopefully one free of technology issues, as we have seen from the Love is Blind live reunion to the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight on Netflix. But I have, without a shadow of a doubt, believe that there are a million reasons why the NFL thinks that they can capitalize on this window. And
more like a billion, but yes, exactly. Yeah.
That is very true. But the Ravens-Texans game is where I want to start here, because what we saw from Baltimore last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers and what we expect to see against a Texans team right now that is banged up. They lose Tank Dell last week, a really gruesome injury. They lose that game to the Kansas City Chiefs. These are 4 playoff teams that are happening in these playoff teams that are taking place in these 2 windows that we have in the NFL today.
Yeah.
But as far as Baltimore having to go on the road on a short week, coming off the performance that they did against the Steelers, like, where's your confidence meter in the Ravens right now that, like, the version we're getting at this point of the season is the sustainable version of this offense, of Lamar Jackson, of a team that's going to be able to get to the AFC title game and actually win it this year.
I work and live in the Lamar Jackson world because I'm in the AFC North where the Browns are, and they have to deal with Lamar twice a year. And what I've learned about him as a player is that as a regular season quarterback, he's about as good as the NFL has ever seen. I mean, Courtney, just look at his record in the regular season. Other than Mahomes, it's unmatched. There are two things that Lamar has struggled with in his career. One is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the other is the playoffs. He exercised the Steelers' demon, not just by winning, but by playing really well in that game last week after he struggled in Pittsburgh mightily and lost earlier in the season. So to me, by executing one of those demons, he's positioned to finally knock off the other one. Courtney's a bad playoff quarterback. Like, that's not just a narrative or a fluky thing or a hot take. You can go through the numbers. It's a wide enough sample size. He's half the player in the playoffs that he is in the regular season. So I expect him to ball out today. I mean, bet on his overs on ESPN Bet, passing yards, passing touchdowns, all of that stuff today. Where I have the question is he going to deliver in the playoffs? Could he go to Kansas City and play the best game he's ever played? That I don't know. Today in Houston on Christmas Day, I'm pretty confident he's going to be the best player in either game that's going on the field today.
If you remember correctly, back to Monday Night Football last year on Christmas Day when it was Lamar Jackson versus Brock Purdy, the day that he unofficially locked up the MVP award last year in a primetime window where the audience is at its peak. That's where you get the best Lamar Jackson. And we're not the only ones who feel that way. Here's what DeMeco Ryans, head coach of the Houston Texans, had to say about the quarterback his defense is going to be trying to stop today.
Lamar is playing some of the best football he's played. Like, he's definitely jumps off the tape as the best player I've seen this year. Talk about MVP. He's definitely the MVP in my mind, just for what he's doing, not only run game wise, but throwing the football, the accuracy, the decision making. Like, he's playing unbelievable ball right now. So it's going to be a really tough challenge for us this week.
Had an unbelievable game against the Steelers last week, 15 of 23 passing, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he did have that one interception, but it wasn't a back-breaking interception.
No.
In a 17-point, 3-score game. I wonder about in terms of this matchup and like what it yields for the short term. Obviously, if the Ravens can get to an 11th win, they keep inching closer to locking up the AFC North. That is still at play here because the Steelers lost the game last week. If they would have won it, there's no conversation. But like, how much do you think that the Ravens need to win the AFC North to make you confident that, they'd be able to host the home playoff game, that path versus them being the 5 or the 6 to be able to then have to go on the road? Like, obviously, every team wants to be one of the top 4 seeds to get to host a playoff game, but do the Ravens need it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tom Brady was an exception to the rule, being able to win road games en route to the Super Bowl in this new model. Remember also, that year was the COVID year. And so while they were a wild card team, it wasn't like they were playing traditional road games in wild, hostile environments. Courtney, I think you have to have some home games in order to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think in this day and age with the one bye, I think you have to win your division. I think this is the cleanest, simplest road. Maybe not the entire way. I mean, Kansas City obviously won a couple road games in order to get there last year, but they weren't a wild card team. So I think for the Ravens, this is a must-win today. I think they have to win the division. I think they should win the division. I think they're the best team in the division. But if they want to go to the Super Bowl, look, they're going to have to win in Arrowhead. They can't make it even harder on themselves where they would have to win in a place like Pittsburgh. Yeah. I don't think they can win that game and the game in Kansas City. I think if they go to the Super Bowl, they have to win the division first.
Yeah, and the fact is they could end up facing the Steelers again. Third time in a season, which, of course, the AFC North beats up on each other. We know this. They will have 2 teams in the postseason. Hey, they might even have a third. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility for the Cincinnati Bengals to back their way in. Of course, it would take wins in the final 2 weeks of the season. They have the Steelers in Week 18.
And they need some help.
It's not super possible. They need help, but hey, wilder things have happened before. But I look back at that game last week, what I was most impressed with, not only from Lamar Jackson, from Derrick Henry doing Derrick Henry things, it's how good that defense was for the Baltimore Ravens, how good Marlon Humphrey has been this entire year, to know that if there is a time where this offense doesn't, can't carry the load the way that they did on their own. Like, you didn't have to rely defensively on them, on the Baltimore Ravens to carry yourself to win. That was a 17-point game. They handled their business in the red zone. They handled their business on third down. They did what they had to do, even when it didn't look pretty the entire game. But this defense for Baltimore, going into a place that has a banged-up offensive line, that does not have another receiver. Like, as when we had Kimberly Martin on earlier, and she's talking about, the Nico Collins injury earlier this year. Stephon Diggs has been out for a couple of months. Tank Dell is now out because he has the dislocated kneecap. Like, there's a prime opportunity here for the Ravens to make a big statement, even before halftime, even before Beyonce gets out on the field at NRG Stadium, to show, okay, we can suffocate a team right now that is clearly in dire straits, and take another step further towards proving that that's the version of yourself that you're going to be come January.
Other Lamar being himself in the playoffs, which we brought up, the Ravens secondary has been a major question this year.
Because of all the injuries.
Courtney, I was at a game where Jameis Winston was throwing all over the Baltimore secondary and making them look bad. Now, there were some dropped interceptions there and stuff in that situation, but they looked like their secondary was going to be unable to hold down a good quarterback, and that was the thing that could keep them from going to the Super Bowl. I think that adding Dean Pease back to their defensive coaching staff, remember, they lost their defensive coordinator. These are things that sometimes people lose sight of. He's now the head coach in Seattle, Mike McDonald. So they've had to grow into this role a little bit. But I think Baltimore's defense, credit to their players and their coaching staff, I think they've gotten better and more reliable as the year has gone on. But this will be a nice test for them today against Stroud and the Texans.
Couple injury updates on this game. Zay Flowers, Ravens receiver, he has that shoulder injury. He's expected to play. We know that the Texans just signed Deontay Johnson. They claimed him off of waivers. He will make his debut next week, not in week 18, not in week 17. It is too soon for that to happen. That game coming your way, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time today. The Ravens looking for win number 11 on the road against the 9-6 Houston Texans. What to watch for is brought to you by Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN. Get great deals on the hottest tickets and experience it live. Straight ahead, there's another game that's taking place before this one, and the Kansas City Chiefs looking for win number 15. We dive in next here on Unsportsmanlike ESPN Radio and over on ESPN2.
It's bowl season on ESPN Radio. 25 bowl games, including the college football playoff and national championship game. Touchdown! The electricity, the atmosphere. Coverage continues Thursday with the Ray Bowl at 5 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football, it's a pepper thing.
30 for 30 presents the New York Sack Exchange.
Flecko, Lyon, Salam, Gastineau.
If you hit a quarterback and if they got up, you didn't do your job.
They were a brotherhood.
There is no magic formula for controlling the New York Sack Exchange.
But brothers don't always play nice.
Flecko could not stand me.
I should have been waiting all day for you.
Well, we'll get down to the stairs.
I don't know what you were doing.
I'm still trying to forgive and forget.
Stream the New York Sack Exchange, now on ESPN+.
Whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football is Circus Sports Illinois. Circus Sports, it's betting the way it should be. Circus Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circus Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com.
Must be 21 or older. For Illinois Problem Gambling Services, please call 1-877-968-7474
7848.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Get the roof your home deserves by Roof Doctors, your residential roofing specialist that has always offered the best warranties in the industry, like our non-prorated 50-year warranty. Our customers love that we are family-owned and locally operated. We make our customer needs our top priority. With over 30 years experience and the best customer service, give Roof Doctors a call today for your free estimate at 328-7529. In your community and for your community, Roof Doctors.
Hi, this is Troy Lands from Lands Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. With colder temperatures here, let's make sure your heating system is operating at its best. At Lands, you can join our comfort family and get exclusive savings and support to keep your heating system in tip-top shape this winter and all year round. Our plans offer tune-ups, discounts on repair, and even lifetime system enhancements. Plus, we back up our equipment with labor warranty when we install it. Find out more about our comfort family maintenance plans at landsinc.com. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
You've changed thousands of diapers, played hours of peekaboo and duck duck goose because you do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow will help make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow in Champaign-Urbana today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
70,000 people are here, and Bob Dylan is the reason for it.
Inspired by the true story.
For anyone who's going to hold your attention on a stage, it's kind of be a freak.
Are you a freak?
Hope so.
And starring Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan. He defied everyone.
Turn it down! Play loud!
To change everything.
Make some noise, Big D.
Timothy Chalamet, Edward Norton, Elle Fanning, Monica Barbaro, A Complete Unknown. Now playing only in theaters. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
That's the ease at which you get information. You want it, you get it. Like that. Ask your phone. Group chat. Smartphone. You're always connected and informed in real time. No waiting. So if you're diabetic and still using finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? Knowing your blood sugar levels instantly is important for managing diabetes. Call US Med at 888-665-0696. To learn more about continuous glucose monitors, a real-time instant method to track your blood glucose, US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 1,000 private insurers. And the best part? Call 888-665-0696 and we'll give you a free insurance benefits check today. So call 888-665-0696 today. That's 888-665-0696. And manage your diabetes as easy as...
Unsportsmanlike with Evan, Canty, and Michelle.
And so this is Christmas.
Merry Christmas. It's Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. This show, as always, presented by Progressive Insurance. No Evan, no Canty, no Michelle. We wish them a very Merry Christmas. You've got Courtney Cronin and Aaron Goldhammer filling in on this Wednesday morning. Couple hours until kickoff between the Chiefs and the Steelers. That game taking place 1 p.m. Eastern time over on Netflix. A full slate of NBA action coming your way today as well. Like, here's my question. Before we get into the football-y football and the breakdown of this matchup, like if you're going to a sporting event on Christmas Day, how do you structure your day to get all of the things in that you want to on Christmas? So that would be presents.
Yep.
Spending time with family.
Yes.
Nice meal in there at some point. And then, of course, like the transportation to and from the game, all of the things that you would do as a sporting fan on a normal day.
Yep.
How would you do it if you're going to this Chiefs-Steelers game today?
Well, okay, so I don't really understand how Christmas is celebrated because I've never celebrated it. So for people, I don't know, like, is Christmas Eve the most holy time? Is Christmas Day the biggest deal? You guys have to explain this to me because I know there are some Jewish holidays, just as an example, Courtney, where I have unabashedly snuck a transistor radio or something into the synagogue on Yom Kippur to
no,
be able
you
to
have
listen.
not. I do not believe this for a second. You brought a radio in to the synagogue, so you were able to. What was so important that you had to like interrupt
the Rockies?
a service?
Hold on, the Rockies in 1995 were in the baseball playoffs. The game was played during the day on Yom Kippur. You can go back and look it up. I had my old Sony Walkman, and I was absolutely passing the score to everybody in the sanctuary, including the rabbi who wanted to know the update on what was going on in the baseball game, but was too Shomer Shabbos or Shomer on the Yontif to be able to go and listen. So I don't know if you're a Steeler fan, but you're celebrating your faith. You know, how much time are you in church? Is there a way that you can actually stream the game on your phone, but also be at the holy parts of the day? Like, you got to balance. It's the holiest day of the year, is it not, Courtney? And at the same time, you got to balance watching a game.
I believe that's what some people would say.
Yes.
I've gone to one sporting event on Christmas Day as a fan, and that was back when I was, I want to say like 2012. I was just fresh out of college. I was home from my internship, and my brother and I went to a Chicago Bulls game. We bought tickets in the 200 level. We did Christmas dinner, and we did it on the earlier side, so then the two of us could pack up our things, get our Bulls jerseys on, and go downtown to the game. Now, I also have worked games on Christmas Day. I've worked a Warriors game before when I was out in the Bay Area, and that's a little different because when it's a work day, it is a little more difficult to balance the
you
fun
be
part
there
of the
2
holiday.
hours
You got to be
before,
mentally locked in. You've got to do all that
post
stuff.
Game. Right, exactly.
But I am curious if there are any Steelers fans, if there's any Chiefs fans, and of course there's the Ravens-Texans game today too, or if you're going to the NBA games. Like, how are you doing your holiday in addition to the game itself? 888 say ESPN 888-729-3776. I'm going to take your calls throughout the show. And teach us, because Aaron and I, this is like kind of a foreign thing as fans for the two of us to get to do that, since we work every single holiday, and it seems like we work together on most holidays. But I'm interested about it, and I'm interested to see how this Chiefs team, coming off the win that they had against the Houston Texans, look when they have to go to Pittsburgh. They have to go to Mike Tomlin's territory. Yep. And this is a Steelers team that's trying to avoid 3 straight losses. Like, the rational side of my brain says, don't ever pick against a Mike Tomlin team. You look like a dummy every single time that you do it, and especially don't do it when they're at home and when they've been the losers of 2 straight. So it was the Eagles game on the road, and then the game that they had last week against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
I am going to be that same dummy, and I am picking against the Pittsburgh Steelers today because I don't think that there's anything right now, luck or otherwise, that is stopping this Chiefs wagon from rolling to win number 15 today. Like, talk me out of that, because that's, like, you know, even if you take a look over at ESPN Bet right now, the Chiefs are a 2.5-point favorite. They have a 55% chance to win this game. I'd be foolish to not pick them, right?
I'm taking the Steelers all day long. And maybe, I'm sure it's getting to the point where Chiefs fans are starting to think that I'm a hater. We've already heard some of this at 888 say ESPN this morning. I think they're a great team. They're 2-time defending Super Bowl champs. Like, Courtney, I'm not an idiot, okay? At the same time, I've watched how they've won every one of these games. I don't think they're quite as good as their record would lead you to believe. That's number one. Number two, because he has to play with Mahomes and Kelsey, nobody talks about Chris Jones enough. He might be the best defensive player in the NFL. He wears number 95. He is out for this game against the Steelers today. We have learned last year when he was in a contract holdout at the beginning of the season, the Chiefs are not the same team. They're not the same defense, which is actually, I hate to say it, the strength of the team. You know how many times Kansas City has scored 30 points this year? 0. They have not scored 30 points once. They win in part because they have one of the best defenses in the NFL. It's just nobody talks about it at all. With Steve Spagnuolo, who's probably a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator. So I think Pittsburgh will be able to score enough today and maybe outscore Kansas City because of Chris Jones's absence. And then I think the last point here, this is the hardest home field to topple in the NFL. I think it's harder than winning an Arrowhead. I think it's harder than winning anywhere. When they play nationally televised, standalone, primetime games, the Steeler fans are crazy. They're waving the terrible towels. They're playing Renegade. I'm all over the Steelers. And I think Kansas City, it would behoove them a little bit to let some of that luck run out. And I think Andy Reid knows this. Might actually help them. And I still think they'll be the number 1 seed, even after I think they lose in Pittsburgh today. I do.
You brought up Chris Jones. Adam Schefter reported this morning. The Chiefs defensive tackle. He's questionable for this game. He's got a calf injury, unlikely to play. That's what sources are telling ESPN's Adam Schefter. It was in I believe the second half of that game against the Texans last week. And they're on a short week. Remember, 3 games in 11 days for the Steelers, for the Chiefs, for these teams that are playing not only this past weekend slate on Saturday, but also playing on Christmas Day and then the closeout game that they have in Week 18. It's a lot of football, which is why we all thought Patrick Mahomes should sit out this past game. And then what does he do? He records the longest rushing touchdown of his career with an alleged bum ankle. It's fun to watch, and I will be definitely tuning in to watch these games on Netflix today. What's the sicko in me wants to know, what's the worst possible thing that could happen with these games being on Netflix for the first time ever? If there is a buffer and we miss a touchdown, or there's a period of time that we're not able to watch these games, how does that reflect back on the NFL product?
Courtney, they're not going to care that much because Netflix is paying them so much money, but it's not something the NFL wants to deal with, right? Mm-hmm. Kudos, by the way, to Amazon, who has never had a problem with this, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they've had Thursday Night Football now for multiple years, and they are. So if I was Netflix, what I would do is, and I don't know whether they've done this or not, I know they have in terms of talent. There's plenty of ESPN personalities who you'll recognize as part of the Netflix broadcast today, Mina Kimes and others. I think they've got to go to us. I think they've got to look to Prime. Who are the real experts in bandwidth to make sure that you're not watching this game feeling like you're on old AOL dial-up internet? No, I need a smooth broadcast. It's one thing when it's some gimmicky Jake Paul, 56-year-old Mike Tyson in a quote-unquote sporting event at midnight that I'm half watching and half asleep. It's another when it's actually legitimate, bona fide, marquee NFL games. And I bet between Jake Paul and now, Netflix has made some significant investments to make sure that they have no problems whatsoever starting at 1 o'clock Eastern this afternoon.
888-SAY ESPN, 888-729-3776. Asking you on the Dr. Pepper call-in line, how do you handle going to a sporting event on a major holiday like Christmas? Jay in Indy, you're on Unsportsmanlike. It's Courtney Cronin. It's Aaron Goldhammer. Enlighten us on how to handle this.
Hey, good morning. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Yeah, I'm a pastor, and I will tell you, Christmas is kind of the easiest one to get away with because it's about gifts. It's about, celebrate. It's just a baby, right? Easter is harder to pull off because Easter is really the biggest holy day for our beliefs. But Christmas, you can get away with it. You give a good gift to somebody, and then you go, hey, I'm going to go watch the game. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm going to be entrenched watching the Steelers today, even though I live in Indianapolis. But I think it's easier on Christmas. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Jay, great call. Thank you so much for that. Easter's a good one, and it actually is making my wheels turn here because Easter sometimes falls in line with the Masters. Most times it does, whether it's, it changes in the holy calendar in Christianity. It's not always the same weekend, not always the same day.
Sure.
I wish Jay was still there because I'd love to know what he would think about, you bringing your transistor radio or your Walkman, whatever it is, into the synagogue and letting your rabbi know the updates during Yom Kippur.
Look, I'm atoning for my sins while I'm sinning, so I could just, listen to the game and then go back to God and apologize. Christmas is a joyous day, right? In general, it's celebrating somebody's birthday, ultimately, right?
Yeah.
Easter is a much more, and Good Friday especially, are much more somber occasions, right? So that's when you get into the trickier spot of, is it appropriate to do X, Y, or Z to watch a sporting event on a really holy feeling day, which it's tough for me to know because I've never been to one of these masses. Does it feel like a very religious experience or does it feel like a real celebration? Is that what Christmas is all about?
I used to go to midnight mass growing up. That was my Christmas Eve thing. My dad and I would go to midnight mass on Christmas Eve turned Christmas Day, and it was such a cool thing. It was cool walking out of the church as the snow was falling, and then knowing that you go home, you wake up, Santa comes in the morning, you have a great day.
Yeah.
I can't imagine during mass having an earbud in the year of 2024, because nobody's walking around with those big headphones and their Walkmans like you did in the 90s,
right.
into your synagogue. Can you imagine like going up in the communion line, like, really quickly here, excuse me, I'm listening to see if like the Steelers, if what's his name, George Pickens is going to score here. Oh, wait a second, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I can't picture that happening. Although
before a big fourth down, you want to go up to to beat the Chiefs, you need every help you can get, Courtney.
In Jay's place of worship, though, as a Steelers fan living in Indianapolis, I would like to go to his church because I feel like you might be able to get away with that there. You guys keep weighing in. These calls are fantastic. We appreciate each and every one of you here on Unsportsmanlike. I'm going to keep the phones open. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Straight ahead, the NFL, not the only kings of Christmas Day, the NBA, a quintuple header coming your way. We break down the latest next on Unsportsmanlike, ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Georgia versus Notre Dame.
There's a different feel to the playoff.
Boise State versus Penn State.
There's an intensity that gets ratcheted up.
Oregon versus Ohio State.
The stakes get much higher.
Arizona State versus Texas. The College Football Playoff Quarterfinals. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
The Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny.
If you were the Bears and you said, we want a team builder, maybe you think it's Mike Vrabel, you have to really believe you can find the right guy on offense. I do still see the appeal of the offensive guy because at least you know what you're getting. If you get the culture guy, you have to also believe that he's going to make the right hire. So it's kind of like two hires as opposed to one.
Check out The Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Jalen Hurts, man, he's so cool, calm, and collected at all times. I've never seen his demeanor change. But also, I think for the quarterback position, that's something that you want from the quarterback position. I see that sometimes when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, also Joe Burrow. These guys stay even-keeled no matter what the circumstances are.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
This Christmas is different. 5 games.
A Christmas Day gift!
5 superstar matchups.
Splash down, Steph Curry. The legend of LeBron continues to grow.
Including Dunk the Halls, a real-time animated NBA game between the Spurs and the Knicks, and featuring Mickey and Friends. Celebrate the NBA on Christmas Day, beginning at noon Eastern on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus.
Amber and Ian.
I appreciate the Beatles' Happy Birthday song from the most overrated band of all time. But let's move on. Ian Fitzsimmons.
Hold up, Coach. Most overrated band of all time?
Did you hear that song that Rachel played? Like, that's the greatest song ever. Like, this is the greatest artist to ever live. Or what?
Amber and Ian. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
I'm Michelle Steele hosting ESPN Daily today. Every weekday morning, we bring you the best sports story you'll hear all day. Today on ESPN Daily, the 2024 sporting year was full of great accomplishments, messy situations, and new experiences. So today, Greg Wyshynski and David Dennis Jr. help us relive what made 2024 a memorable year in sports. That's ESPN Daily. Follow us and listen wherever you get good podcasts.
Buckle up and get ready for all the heart. College basketball better than ever. This is must-watch television and all the love.
The most electrifying players in the nation.
For all the moments.
My goodness, a show-stopping highlight.
And all we are.
come for it all. ACC Women's College Basketball, all season long on ACCN.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
And they're not here, probably because they're getting ready for this quintuple header of NBA games coming your way on Christmas Day, or they're just off celebrating with their families. So you've got Courtney Cronin, Aaron Goldhammer in for the crew on Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. The NBA used to belong, or Christmas Day used to belong to the NBA solely. It was the only thing that we would watch before the NFL decided to snatch some of that attention away.
Sure.
But we've got some great games today. Spurs Knicks, that is it has the altcast, Dunk the Halls, Drew Carter, Monica McNutt, Daisy Duck, I heard, is going to be the sideline reporter there. That kicks things off 12 p.m. Eastern, ABC, ESPN, Wolves and Mavs, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. On ABC, ESPN, ESPN Plus, 76ers, Celtics, Lakers, Warriors, Nuggets, and the Suns. 5 games, 5 intriguing matchups. Of the 5 that I've given you,
yeah,
which one would you say you're like the most excited for, Aaron?
I hate to be this guy, but aren't we still talking about LeBron against Steph? Like, isn't that still the best thing the NBA has to offer?
On Christmas Day,
it's in the marquee
that's the matchup
window
that I'm looking at.
Look, they send Mike Breen and Doris Burke to one game, Courtney, and that's the game that they're going to in San Fran. I think, people have had these conversations about NBA ratings, and I think the league is in a really healthy place. I think that there's so many stars. Here's part of the reality, though, that I think the league has to understand. 6 straight MVPs in the NBA are international players, between Giannis and Jokic and Embiid, who I know played for Team USA, but is technically, from Cameroon, and I don't think is seen by most Americans as an American first, I guess I'd say. And I still feel like we're in a league where the biggest show is a 40-year-old guy who's been relevant playing games on Christmas Day for over 20 years, into 3 different decades, Courtney. And I think at some point, I know people like watching Ann Edwards and Luka Doncic and Victor Wembanyama and some of these other players. The Knicks are always a bit of a draw. But I think if I'm Adam Silver and I'm watching these games on Christmas Day, at some point I got to be ready to move on from LeBron versus Steph. They haven't faced each other in NBA Finals since 2018. And really the height of that rivalry was like 8 or 9 years ago. It's odd to me that is still the main attraction in the NBA. And I think it's an issue that the commissioner and the marketing team of the NBA are going to really have to work through.
Yeah, I mean, riddle me this. Is that the lazy, and I'm not calling you lazy, but like the take itself that, it's LeBron and Steph, it's just because they're the marquee names, they've been doing this, they've played 52 times against each other in their career, postseason and regular season. Is it that we just don't appreciate Wolves and Mavs, whether it's Luka and Anthony Edwards, or even later in the evening, Kevin Durant against the Nuggets and, Nikola Jokic? Like, are they not doing enough? Are they the ones being lazy in not promoting? Not that they're not promoting the game, but not promoting the star versus star matchup. Because I look back at the rematch of the Western Conference Finals last year between the Mavs and the Wolves, and that game is something that I feel like I'm going to get up for. I know the Wolves have come out of the gates here at the beginning of the season. They're 14-14. They've stumbled, but they also have a very new look between themselves, Julius Randle being there now, Dante DiVincenzo, Karl Anthony Towns is with the New York Knicks. He'll be playing earlier in the day. Yeah. Is it because the NBA hasn't marketed what these current teams are like and are just relying on nostalgia on a day where people like relish in nostalgia? That's what we do on Christmas.
Courtney, all I know is like the metrics, right? And still, like on ESPN.com, no story in the NBA moves the needle as much as either a LeBron story or a Steph Curry story. Malika Andrews did a great interview with Steph Curry that's going to air throughout the course of the day on ESPN today. And that's the get. Like, that's the person you want to talk to. There's another interview series that's going to run that has LeBron and Steph and Kevin Durant all part of it. Yeah. And those guys have a combined age that's almost 100, so they're still good players. LeBron is still one of the best players in the NBA. I think he's still probably one of the best 15 guys in the league. So maybe part of the reason why he's still so relevant is because he's still so good. But it's just, we're at the point, we had this, who's going to be the next Jordan? It ended up being Kobe, very different player, but it ended up, Kobe really took the mantle from Michael. And then LeBron took the mantle from Kobe. I love Giannis. Jokic is the best player in the world. Courtney, I don't know that anybody who's playing today is the obvious guy that's going to take the mantle from LeBron, Steph, and KD. I don't know what the next era of the NBA is. Maybe it is Victor Wembanyama, but I don't know that he moves the needle yet, that America is gathering around their new television at noon today Eastern time, and they're like, oh, my God, I got to see what this guy from France is going to do as he takes on the New York Knicks. Maybe that is a conversation going on in some houses. I don't sense that it's quite at that level yet.
All right, we've got 5 games coming your way, a double header right here on Christmas Day on ESPN Radio. Starting out, Knicks hosting the Spurs, followed by the Timberwolves and the Mavs. Coverage beginning 11:30 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Straight ahead, if you're going to one of these games today, whether it's an NBA game or an NFL game, how are you doing it? How are you celebrating Christmas? That's next on Sportsmanlike ESPN Radio.
Adam Schefter here with Vivid Seats. We've got some late-breaking news coming out of the stands. According to multiple sources, Vivid Seats fans are scoring rewards on every purchase and at a rapid pace. Obviously, these rewards are a game changer, and coupled with their MVP-worthy ticket selection, why get tickets anywhere else? Don't drop the ball this season. Shop with Vivid Seats and earn rewards on every ticket. And as the official ticketing partner of ESPN, Vivid Seats is offering you $20 off your first $200 ticket purchase with code Schefter. That's code Schefter.
Hear that? The sound of water being poured on 800-degree rocks. If you were here in this sauna, you'd be so hot you wouldn't have the energy to move. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. Besides, after a long ride, a helmet sweat is way more satisfying. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without even breaking a sweat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Illinois basketball season is underway. Single-game tickets to see your Fighting Illini at State Farm Center are on sale now at fightingillini.com. Great seats are still available. Lock in your tickets for big games against Big Ten opponents before they're gone. Don't miss your chance to see the winningest team in the Big Ten Conference over the last 5 years. Be part of the atmosphere and get tickets at fightingillini.com.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Since 1955, the University of Illinois Police Training Institute has been dedicated to making police officers active, respected members of their community. Using the adult learning model, PTI's curriculum focuses on understanding diverse communities and treating everyone with dignity and respect, going beyond state standards, specializing in Brill Lead training, juvenile officer certification, and LGBTQ ally training. Discover more on Facebook and Instagram or visit pti.illinois.edu.
Flooring Surfaces has a brand new showroom. You'll see beautiful products displayed in new and exciting ways, with inspiration around every corner. Enjoy a modern floor covering experience in a space designed to showcase what Flooring Surfaces does best. Premium flooring options, free design assistance, free expert advice, and professional installation services. Now in a showroom that's easy to shop. Visit today at 401 Mercury Drive in Champaign.
Flooring Surfaces, your first stop.
Illinois basketball star Merez Johnson on needing some help from Sarah Champagne and Ben Quattrone.
I was going back home for a weekend and I was going to be downtown. I text Ben, can I get a different car, go to Chicago? And I got something small, a nice Buick, something that was nice. I got my car back when I came. It was quick. Ben and Sarah Champagne took care of me.
And Sarah Champagne would do that for you, too. Learn more at sarahchampagne.com. That's SERRA Champagne.com.
Hey, where are you headed?
To Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola.
What do they have there?
What don't they have there? Living room furniture, benches, chests, love seats, sectionals, tables, bedroom sets, hutches, nightstands, end tables, cabinets, mirrors, stools, clocks, lamps, pillows, rugs, desks, media consoles, patio furniture, Tempur-Pedic mattresses, and more.
So, everything.
Yeah, probably could have just said that.
Kelsey Furniture, quality for less.
Unsportsmanlike with Chris Canty, Evan Cohen, and Michelle Smallman.
Unsportsmanlike. If you were to look at pro sports, best name for a team.
Great question. The Chicago Bears.
When you played for the Ravens feel unbelievably nasty.
But,
the Ravens.
But we're talking about a bird. Okay, Edgar Allan Poe.
Exactly.
I'm going to poetry
I'm sorry.
you to death.
No bird is intimidating.
All right.
The St. Louis Cardinals, my team,
No,
like
definitely not.
a beautiful bird. No one sees a cardinal and they're like, oh my God. Ah.
It's Christmas, and it's Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Courtney Cronin, Aaron Goldhammer wishing you and yours a very happy holiday. If you're spending it in traffic right now, on the way to your relatives, if you're opening up gifts and listening to us on the ESPN app or watching us over on ESPN2, we appreciate you spending part of your morning here with us. Unsportsmanlike is presented by Progressive Insurance. You can join the show at any point this morning, 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. That's the number to get in on the Dr. Pepper call-in line. And I know that since we have so many sports, all of the sports today, it's a gift in its own right. The 5 NBA games and, of course, the 2 NFL games starting off 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's Chiefs and the Steelers, and it's then the Ravens and the Houston Texans. Little Beyonce concert sprinkled in there. I want to know what you guys are watching for, what you're most excited about. Like, these are not chump change matchups. These are playoff matchups, more or less, or games that have serious implications on the postseason. Like, when you get out of here in a little bit, and I know that you said that there might be a movie in your future. You are Jewish. This is a day that usually is filled with movies and Chinese food.
Correct.
What will the sports watching situation be like in the Goldhammer house today?
So interesting. I'm definitely watching Chiefs Steelers live. I feel like that's the bigger of the two games. Is that fair? Because
yes,
it involves Mahomes.
I agree with that. Almost 15 win, potential 15 win Chiefs team, and the Steelers are trying to not lose 3 straight. I agree with that.
And I think the Steelers are leaking a little bit of oil, and it's a really marquee venue. I'm not saying both games aren't great. I'm saying I'm most excited about Chiefs Steelers of everything today. With the Beyonce concert, second. So if I want to go to a movie and then get back to watch Ravens Texans, can you do that in this day and age? Can you watch a game tape delayed, or is it going to be spoiled for me regardless of what happens? Because I'm going to look at my phone, and when Lamar's throwing touchdown passes, my friends are going to be texting me. I used to try to pull this off all the time where I wouldn't know about a game because
so
I don't want to
stayed off social media.
Right. My thought is go home, have a little lunch, maybe get a little nap in, go Chiefs Steelers, go to a movie, come back and watch the end of Ravens Texans, or maybe start Ravens Texans over, but only watch the most important plays. I also haven't decided. I mean, I think there's this Bob Dylan movie.
Yes,
that I really
Timothy Chalamet movie.
Yes, I think that's what I'm gonna. I think that's what I'm gonna try to catch. I think that's what I'm gonna try to get in. But my family is out of town. My wife is out of town with our 2 kids, Stella and Levi. If you guys are watching, Merry Christmas. So I'm all alone on this Christmas.
Aww.
I might be going to a movie by myself.
Honestly,
on Christmas.
And you get to go take a nap without being interrupted by 2 infants, or an infant and like a toddler.
Yeah.
I think this is actually going to be a great day for you. You don't have to watch Bluey. You don't have to turn on Paw Patrol.
I love Bluey. Oh.
You don't have to do any of the things you don't want to do. Here's a very dumb question that I have. And I'm okay admitting this because I'm a human being. You talk about games on tape delay. So if it's a normal game, like I live in Chicago. So if it was a Bears game, Bears are, on, I can watch it on CBS, I can watch it on Fox, whatever. I have a DVR because I'm old and I have cable still. How do you watch a tape delay game that's on Netflix?
So I think,
is there a function for this that I can record it?
I don't know. I think that what Amazon Prime has done is when you launch the game broadcast, if it's in the middle of the game, you can choose either
to start from the
watch
beginning
from
or
beginning
watch live.
or right. And the other thing that Amazon has done, and I believe YouTube TV a little bit with some of their NFL Sunday Ticket product, is that if you want to catch up just by watching the key plays and then they'll take you live, there's also an option for that, which I kind of like that possibility. But part of my thing, like tomorrow when we're doing the show, I want to have experienced what the Netflix thing is like. I want to be able to break down the broadcasters that they chose and the studio show with 10 people sitting up there. Like I want to have been able to see all of that. So I want to make sure that I have this in full to be able to go back and watch. So part of that is going to dictate whether I decide to sneak out and get to the movie or whether I just stick with football and Chinese food the rest of the way.
It'll be a spectacle either way. I'm very excited for both games. I am excited for people that are going to the games as well. 888-SAY-ESPN, Dr. Pepper call-in line. Let's go out to Kevin in Maine. Kevin, Merry Christmas to you and your family. What are your plans today? You going to one of these games?
Yes, I am. I'm originally from Boston. I'm a retired pharmacist, and I'm just going to jump on the Amtrak at 11:15, and I'm going, which goes right to the Garden. It's 2 hours, 10 minutes, and go up the escalator and watch the Celtics beat the heck out of the 76ers.
Kevin, is this like a normal occurrence? Is this what you do? You sound like a seasoned Celtics fan here. You know exactly the route you got to take from Maine all the way down to Boston. Do you go to these games on Christmas Day regularly?
Either that, or I'll go back to Boston quite a bit, and we have a big casino now too, just outside of Boston. So, and being over 65 now, I get a round trip on the train for $48, and it goes right to the Garden. So it's a big day in Boston. It always is, especially with all the bars and restaurants in the North End around the Garden. And I remember the old days because I was a half-season ticket holder back in the Bird McHale Ainge games. And the old Garden. And you can probably tell with my accent, Garden. I still can't pronounce my R's, and I'm proud of it. But we're very fortunate up here in Maine, too. I live in Biddeford, which is 10 miles south of Portland. And in Portland, we have the Maine Mariners, which are part of the Bruins. We have the G League with the Celtics, and we have Hadlock Field, which is AA baseball for the Sox. So it's kind of almost pretty cool. But I do miss the old Ainge, McHale, oh my God, the Lakers, the 76ers.
You got a championship
Pistons
team right now, Kevin. Like, come on. Like, you can't. I understand you long maybe for the days of the old Garden that had no air conditioning. But, like, everybody wishes they had Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, and Drew Holiday, and Derek White on their team. You got, like, 4 Olympians.
Let's not forget, like, how well the Boston Celtics have started out this season. I know that you want to puff your chest, Aaron, probably about your Cavs, but the Celtics might have something to say about
to
that.
Beat. We'll see.
Incredible slate of games today. That one, 76ers and Celtics, happening 5 p.m. Eastern time. Kevin, go enjoy the game. Derek in Ohio, you are on the Dr. Pepper call-in line. It's Courtney Cronin and it's Aaron Goldhammer. It's on Sportsmanlike. How are you celebrating today?
Hey there. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Hey there. Yeah, so we actually we are on our way to Acrisure Stadium right now. We surprised our kids with tickets to the Chiefs-Pittsburgh game for Christmas.
Wow.
Derek, that's dad of the year right there, that your kids are getting to go to a game like that.
So what we did is we woke our boys up at about 6 o'clock this morning. We're past the days of where they get us up at about 4:30. They're a little bit older now.
Sure.
But what we did is my wife and I, we put on Steelers and Chiefs hats with rally towels, and we turned on Renegade, and we walked into the family room with the hats on, and they were looking at us like we were crazy. And then it hit them as what we were going to be doing, and they went nuts.
You guys
that
are
is
now.
So cool.
There's one issue that where in Ohio, Derek? Where in Ohio are you?
Columbus, Ohio. OHIO.
Okay. So you're in. Appreciate the call. You're in Columbus. If you're in Columbus, that's kind of like neutral territory, Courtney.
Okay.
It's half Bengals, it's half Browns, it's a little Steelers. One of the things that drives me crazy about Steeler game days like this one is that there are Northeast Ohioans who choose to root for the Steelers over the Browns just because they've won 6 Super Bowls.
Because they like winning teams? That bothers you?
Of course. If you are born in Northeast Ohio and you don't have a direct connection to Pittsburgh and you choose to root for the Steelers, it's a total Benedict Arnold move. You're a bad fan at that point if you do that. You can't do it, frankly. If you grow up in my house, I grew up as a Denver Bronco fan. I told my kids, you can root for the Broncos, that's fine. You can root for the Browns. I'll even accept that. You start rooting for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you are going to be growing up in a gutter somewhere. Not in my house.
Oh, my gosh. I found the Grinch, everybody. His name's Aaron Goldhammer.
Not
He's
in my
Northeast
house.
Ohio. Derek, again, thank you for the call. What an incredible experience. Can you imagine waking up, like he said, his two sons, to find out is like mom and dad are putting the Chiefs and the Steelers stuff on. They're playing Renegade. They're getting you hype. It's like, oh, my goodness, we're going to the game, too.
Wow.
I've been to sporting events, working them on Christmas Day, and I've also been to games where, I went as a fan. And that was really to an NBA game. I went in 2012 to a Bulls game. I think it was Bulls Celtics, if I remember correctly, on Christmas Day. To be a kid, to find out if that's your team, you're going to, not just some bum game, and I know it's the NFL, the scarcity factor, there's 18 weeks here.
Sure.
It's not like going to game 75 of a Major League Baseball season of 162.
No.
You're going to Chiefs, Steelers. You get to go see Patrick Mahomes. You get to see a team that just won 2 Super Bowls in a row. Yep. And the Steelers trying to break a 2-game losing streak, not let this thing snowball to 3. That might be the best gift you ever get in your entire lifetime. I can't think of anything that would top that.
Hang on, Courtney. Is it a great gift, or is it only a great gift if the Steelers win?
No, absolutely not.
Well,
don't add that caveat
Chiefs...
in there. What an experience. You get to go watch your team on Christmas Day, and your mom and dad just surprised you with the gift of forever. I think no matter what happens, and I can bring this up because I did go to the Indiana game last week when they played Notre Dame in the college football playoff, and they lost. Big time, they lost. I still, people have asked me, would you go again? Did you have fun in spite of the loss? And I said, absolutely. I got to tailgate. I got to see friends from college that I hadn't seen in a while. I got to be in Notre Dame Stadium, football Americana, Acrisure Stadium. That is it in Pittsburgh. You're going to be there in the thick of that on Christmas Day. I don't know if there's snow in the air, on the ground. It's going to be cold. I know that. That's incredible.
Look,
win, loss, or draw. That is, hands down, got to be the best gift that we've heard about anybody calling in today, and probably the best gift that Derek's kids are going to get in their entire lives.
Derek thought this was a great idea, and if the Steelers win on a Boswell 35-yard field goal at the gun, they'll remember it forever. If the Chiefs win on some luck box play that I can't even possibly imagine, which is the way they've won games all year, Derek's kids and his whole family might be crying on the drive on the way back to Columbus. Very cool gift, amazing moment to wake up the kids playing Renegade. To me, a little bit risky not knowing the outcome of the game. The one thing about, if you get tickets to see Hamilton or something, you go to see a show, you go to see The Lion King on Broadway. You know what you're getting. You're getting
it's scripted.
Correct. When you get tickets to a sporting event, could be amazing, could be the most devastating loss of your football life. Good luck. Merry Christmas.
Derek's kids also get to see a team. Wait, I actually don't know. Do we find they're Steelers fans? Because I know he said the mom also had a jersey on too.
Yeah.
They get to see a team that's going to get George Pickens back today, Larry Ogunjobi, Dante Jackson,
no Chris
Steelers,
Jones.
No Chris Jones. The Steelers are trending in the right direction health-wise, which is boding well for them trying to get the last 2 losses out of that bad taste out of their mouth and back into the win column for win number 11. The AFC North title still in sight for Pittsburgh, even though the Ravens are going to have something to say about that when they have the Houston Texans on the road later this afternoon. Keep weighing in. Dr. Pepper call-in line, 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Speaking of the Grinch, We're going to put our Grinch suits on, proverbially, myself and Aaron Goldhammer, and tell you which team in the NFL is the most hopeless right now. That's coming up next on Sportsmanlike ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
The NBA on Christmas Day on ESPN Radio. Tip-off with the Spurs and Knicks is at noon Eastern. Good score, followed by the Timberwolves and Mavericks.
Christmas gift away. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
A Christmas Day doubleheader on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC.
70,000 people are here, and Bob Dylan is the reason for it.
Inspired by the true story.
For anyone who's going to hold your attention on stage, it's kind of be a freak.
Are you a freak?
Hope so.
And starring Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan. He defied everyone.
Turn it down! Play loud!
To change everything.
Make some noise, Big D.
Timothy Chalamet, Edward Norton, Elle Fanning, Monica Barbaro, a complete unknown. Now playing only in theaters. Rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
You've set your financial goals. One kid plans to go Big Ten, the other Ivy. Your bucket list includes seaside sunrises and sunsets on the slopes, or perhaps a second home away from it all. Busey Bank can help develop the right investment strategy to take charge of the years ahead. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
So when was the last time you saw a best deal guarantee?
You mean a promise that actually held up?
Right.
That some unknown online entity didn't want you to log in and download a code and then re-verify as you join some club?
Drives you nuts, I know.
And then once you purchase that set of steak knives...
Well, Dick Van Dyke Appliance World is a lot simpler. You find a verified great deal and they beat it. Just show them the deal you saw. A newspaper clipping or the online cart price will do, and then you're good.
At Dick Van Dyke Appliance World, it's one of those instances where you see a best deal guarantee and...
you get the best deal.
This is Dennis Rieken, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Our exclusive 10-year protection plan comes free with most appliance purchases. Whether it's a GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, Bosch, or any of our 30 brands, I guarantee we will beat any competitor's deal. Wow!
Big Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Looking for the perfect pair of boots? Come on down to Pard's Western Shop in Urbana. With an amazing selection that fits every style, Pard's has the perfect pair waiting for you the next time you're hitting the rodeo or stepping out in style. They've got great deals and sale prices on men's cowboy boots, girls' cowgirl boots, and kids' boots. And their friendly staff will make sure you leave with the boots you love. Pard's Western Shop, serving its customers with high-quality merchandise since 1968. Go see them today at 306 North Maple Street in Urbana.
Pia's Sports Bar and Grill is excited about our bowl-bound number 20 Illini football team to face number 15 South Carolina on New Year's Eve at 2 o'clock. Plan to wear your orange and blue as we root on the Illini as they play in Orlando, Florida in the Cheez-Its Citrus Bowl on December 31st. Enjoy terrific drink specials and your favorite food and try to win some great prizes as you meet your friends at Pia's, 1609 Springfield Avenue near Mattis in Champaign. Let's wrap up the year with an Illini win as you watch with fans at Pia's.
Is the plumbing in your home driving you crazy? From leaks to drips or remodels, Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing has you covered. Voted CU's #1 plumbing company, and there's a reason. Treating all customers like friends. Backed up sewers, clogged drains. Call today. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, 217-841-4728, or visit dogtownheatingandair.com. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend.
That you could potentially go after your own
Spent
team,
my life
the
talking
Cleveland
about
Browns.
this. Yeah, right.
But I also, this is national radio. Like, this isn't just Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland. Like, you can go whichever direction you want. When I give you that question, who is the first team that comes to mind for you?
Well, in a way, I could say the Browns because the Watson contract is such a nightmare, and I feel like they're so aimless in terms of what kind of team they want to build and who they want to be. I mean, their identity was, let's try to get Deshaun Watson and make him good again, and now obviously that's failed, and they need to figure something out and go in a different direction from that. I'm actually going to bring up another team here. I feel really bad for fans of the Raiders for a variety of reasons. Number one, probably some of you are in LA or Oakland and your team moved, and now you're in Vegas and you don't even really have a home field advantage. You're basically the team where the visiting fans go to party and watch their team play in your stadium. Also, you were this close to Shedeur Sanders and some hope, some real buzz, some juice, wearing a Raiders jersey again with pride. And then you went and won a completely meaningless game last Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars of all teams that puts you now from 1 or 2 to 6 in the draft order. Like, enjoy debating which left tackle now you're going to be drafting all of a sudden coming up in April. You got to feel, what is your hope? What is your excitement? What is your level of juice if you're a Vegas Raiders fan, Courtney? It's a pretty pathetic existence.
Especially after what happened last week where you go from, I believe it was 2 in the draft order all the way to 6. So you put yourself out of the top 2 quarterbacks. If you're drafting a quarterback there, you're reaching for Jalen Milroe, maybe.
Banged up Carson Beck.
Yeah, I mean, or you're trying to tap into free agency, overspending, bidding against other teams for Sam Darnold.
Yep.
You think it would work there? I mean, we don't even know what the coaching situation is going to be.
Right. And
if Antonio Pierce is going to stay there.
Who wants that job? Like, I know, look, it's one of 32 coaching jobs. It's in a warm market that's a sexy destination, I guess. I love Vegas, but I wouldn't want to be there ever for more than 48 hours, and I can't ever fathom living there.
Okay.
If you're Mike Vrabel, though, and you have a choice between, let's say you're one any of these candidates, you have a choice between Raiders, Saints, Bears, Giants, a bunch of these jobs that are hypothetically going to be open here in the coming days. I feel like the Raiders is the last job you'd choose, in part, again, because of the management structure and the ownership situation. And then you look up and down the roster, man, Max Crosby is an absolute dog. Who else on that team? Brock Bowers, are you really excited about? I think the Raiders take this. I think they are the number one most hopeless team right now in the NFL.
All right. I understand it, and I think that it's a fair selection for this. The roster is decimated. They did that by design. They weren't supposed to compete this year, which is why if Antonio Pierce doesn't end up making it past the 2024 season, it's kind of unfair because this team was never supposed to be anything this season. But
right.
I think that clean slate sort of approach, knowing that this is rock bottom for them. Truly, this is rock bottom. It cannot possibly get any worse for the Raiders because you're going to get a quarterback next year. You literally have to. So it can't look as bad as it did with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, but they're not my most hopeless franchise. And you mentioned the Jets. I'm going to lump in all New York football teams at all times. That is has there ever been, and Mark Morales, our producer in studio, I know you're from the tri-state area. You grew up a Jets fan. Has there ever been a more hopeless state of New York football between both franchises than the one that currently exists in 2024, where Aaron Rodgers very likely going into his last 2 games with the New York Jets? He said on the McAfee show yesterday, kind of in a very terse manner, when asked about whether he'd be a Jet next year, he said, ask Woody, meaning Woody Johnson. And then, of course, the dumpster fire that is the New York Giants, the team that is drafting number 1 overall if this thing holds.
Right.
Has it been worse for both teams at the same time, as bad as it is right now?
Yeah, honestly, I think this is truly rock bottom. I mean, this is literally the Giants. I believe it's their worst season in franchise history. So there you go on the Giants standpoint. And then for the Jets, like, everybody thought they were going to be Super Bowl contenders with Aaron Rodgers and this group of talented, supporting cast. And we got Devontae Adams, we got Alan Lazard, we got all his buddies, we have Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. And for some reason, they just can't put it together. And we're worse this year than we ever were with Zach Wilson. So, yeah, I think this is literally like the worst state in New York football.
Because the other thing to consider with the Jets is if you just take one look at that athletic report that came out last week, like the level of dysfunction. And the one thing you can't do, Courtney, if you're an NFL team, and you know this because the family, the McCaskies in Chicago, get a lot of grief, you can't fire the owner. If you could, Mark Davis, gone. Woody Johnson, gone. McCaskey's gone. Jimmy Haslam, gone. But you're stuck with these leaders. And why does Pittsburgh always win? They have great ownership. You know, why I saw the Hunts, a couple weeks ago when the Chiefs were here. They walked by and I was like, man, you guys just make easy, simple decisions and then watch the product and collect the checks. It must be so nice to not be in there meddling in every single little decision that gets made. Part of this is ownership. And if you're a Jet fan, the one thing you can't get rid of is Ambassador Johnson. You're stuck with him.
I wonder what Jets fans and Giants fans want for Christmas, because I almost think it'd be overwhelming to be a fan of either franchise. And if I'm Santa Claus, I mean, I've got Santa on my sweatshirt right now. I think that I qualify. I don't know if there's ever been a female Santa Claus, but I'll be the first one. And I say, hey,
Mrs. Claus is a very powerful factor in the Santa family.
Okay,
yeah.
But is she the one going out delivering the gifts, guiding Rudolph and his buddies across the universe?
She wears the
Maybe
pants
not.
in the relationship, though, between her and Santa. When she speaks,
Okay.
Santa listens.
All right, so fine, I'll be Mrs. Claus. If I'm giving Jets fans and Giants fans a Christmas gift, like, what do they want? Because there's so many things. I think you'd get overwhelmed at, what do I choose? What do I ask Mrs. Claus for? Because one thing doesn't fix your entire organization. Low-hanging fruit there would be, I need a quarterback. But what about if you're the New York Giants and you know that it's not just the quarterback that they have to go get in 2025? It very likely is a new front office, a new coaching staff. Certainly the defense there, like in the sack numbers alone, will tell you that the pass rush isn't there. You probably need another defensive end, more pass rush, corners on the back end. I mean, like, all their good players are playing somewhere else right now, whether it's Saquon Barkley or Xavier McKinney, for example. Like, how do you handle that if you're a team that has that many things that need to be fixed?
Yeah.
What do you ask for?
I think the Giants have more stable ownership that I would trust more. They've won before. I mean, if you're a Giant fan, kind of what you're wishing for Christmas is a time machine. So you can go back and watch Eli beat Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. Or a YouTube premium account so that you can watch your highlights of your Super Bowl teams uninterrupted and commercial-free. If you're a Jet fan, you definitely root for a new owner. That's what you wish for, right?
Yeah.
You wish for stable ownership that makes solid decisions and doesn't do, wild, crazy stabs in the dark, making the whole team around one thing and one person. They obviously, when they fired Robert Saleh, the team just got worse from there, Courtney. Like, that was... If they had a chance to pull themselves out of anything, it was actually probably keeping that coach in place. It was a terrible, bizarre decision. So I think depending on your level of hopelessness, your team wants a different thing. I think if you gave the Giants a good quarterback, they would stabilize relatively quickly. I think if you gave the Jets a good quarterback, they would find a way to trade him to the Minnesota Vikings. Like, there's just a curse, a pall on the Jets that doesn't exist with the Giants.
Desperate. That's the only word I can think of for both franchises. And it does, at least the way that you spelled it out for me there. You said it yourself. You can't get rid of ownership. You can't ask Santa to say, get me a new owner, because, well, just not how it works. But, man, desperate times, hopeless times. The Grinch certainly alive in New York right now, in the state of New York football. It's on Sportsmanlike, ESPN Radio, and ESPN2. Straight ahead, we go out to Pittsburgh, get an update ahead of the big matchup between the Chiefs and the Steelers this afternoon. It's on Sportsmanlike, ESPN Radio, and ESPN2.
It's bowl season on ESPN Radio. 25 bowl games, including the college football playoff and national championship game. Electricity, the atmosphere. Coverage continues Thursday with the Rainbow at 5 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. college football. It's a Pepper thing.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first, before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Crime is happening right now in our neighborhoods and across our communities, but you can help stop it with a donation to Champaign County Crime Stoppers. Your tax-deductible donation is an investment in a safer community for your family, your business, and the future we all deserve. Crime Stoppers has been fighting crime and assisting local law enforcement for nearly 4 decades, and we are funded through the generous support of those willing to stand up against crime. Join our ranks by visiting ChampaignCountyCrimeStoppers.org and donating today.
Illinois basketball season is underway. Single game tickets to see your Fighting Illini at State Farm Center are on sale now at fightingillini.com. Great seats are still available. Lock in your tickets for big games against Big Ten opponents before they're gone. Don't miss your chance to see the winningest team in the Big Ten Conference over the last 5 years. Be part of the atmosphere and get tickets at fightingillini.com.
Get the roof your home deserves by Roof Doctors, your residential roofing specialist that has always offered the best warranties in the industry, like our non-prorated 50-year warranty. Our customers love that we are family-owned and locally operated. We make our customer needs our top priority. With over 30 years experience and the best customer service, give Roof Doctors a call today for your free estimate at 328-7529. In your community and for your community, Roof Doctors.
From computer systems to brakes and tires too, at PDR, fixing cars is what they do. Remember, when you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481 or use their dedicated text-only line at 383-0619. Additional information including repair quotes and online scheduling requests available from the website at pdrauto.com. Remember, they are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR. Illinois basketball star Morez Johnson on managing partner at Sarah Champagne, Ben Quattrone.
Ben Quattrone is a great guy. He's like an uncle to me now, a great character person. Sarah Champagne is like a family. Talk to the people that work here sometimes, just to talk to them, and they helped me when I got my car deal. It was very helpful. It wasn't like I was here all day, like I was bonding with people, have a conversation with them. They're there. Oh, I love my car.
Learn more at sarahchampagne.com. That's SERRA champagne.com.
Find the look you love for less at Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola. Explore their wide selection of quality pieces, from cozy sofas to exquisite dining sets from all the top name brands. With personalized service and expert advice, their team makes finding the perfect piece effortless. Create the home of your dreams with Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola. Exceptional customer service and the best prices since 1959. Stop by today or visit them online at kelseyfurniture.com.
Jet's Pizza is offering a special deal when you spend $25. Just use promo code 5ADD. That's the number 5ADD and specify Jet's bread or cinnamon sticks for only $5. Combine that with their current $5 off pizza promos and you can cheer on the Illini while enjoying hot pizza with your favorite Jet's bread or cinnamon sticks. What a deal. You spend $25, enter 5ADD for Jet's bread or cinnamon sticks for just $5. Jet's, better because it has to be.
Season's greetings. This is Janelle Adams from Prospect Bank. Sometimes the perfect gift is simply sharing a smile, and donations don't always have to be grand gestures. These small tokens show appreciation and will bring a world of happiness to a stranger. Remembering those who are less fortunate during this time of year could be the perfect encouragement needed to support your local food pantry and other civic organizations. Happy holidays from all of us at Prospect Bank. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Unsportsmanlike with Evan, Canty, and Michelle.
You you think Patrick Mahomes is rolling into Pittsburgh playing this morning? Little Jackson 5 action on Christmas Day. It's Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Courtney Cronin, Aaron Goldhammer wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas ahead of a quintuple header of NBA games this afternoon, all of which you can see on ESPN2, a part of our doubleheader that we have right here on ESPN Radio following Greeny this morning. And then, of course, it's the Steelers playing host to the Kansas City Chiefs, and then Ravens-Texans to round out the NFL slate on Netflix this afternoon. Pleased to welcome in Brooke Pryor. She covers the Steelers for ESPN's NFL Nation. She's given up her Christmas to be with us, to be covering her team. And I want to say, do you feel ripped off that you don't get a Beyonce concert at your game today at halftime the way they do down in Houston later this afternoon?
I have been so angry about this since it came out that Beyonce was going to be in Houston. I kept saying, okay, great. So who's in Pittsburgh? So far, no one. No one is in Pittsburgh. There was a rumor, maybe Billy Joel. I'd be fine with that. Then someone else told me, oh, Mariah Carey is going to perform, but it's pre-taped. So I'm liable to grab a mic and give my own Beyonce halftime performance, which I'm sure everyone in the stadium would love and say is just as good as the real thing in Houston.
Is there a Christmas press box meal? Take us inside what happens on Christmas in an NFL press box.
Oh, that's a great question. I do not know what the meal is. I have not been up in the press box yet. I'm at the stadium right now, but I'm standing on the sideline. I personally brought peppermint patties for everyone in the shape of Christmas trees because I wasn't sure what we would have. That's my way of spreading Christmas joy. And let's be honest, I don't bake. No one wants that, so we went prepackaged. But I would expect some Christmas treats in there. There will be, I think there's another person that always hands out little Hershey Kisses around Christmas for everyone because the Steelers have played on or around Christmas pretty often the last couple of years. Last year they played on the 23rd was one of their Christmas games. I know the Chiefs played on Christmas last year. But, I mean, look, here's the thing. If I was not covering a game, the Steelers would likely still be practicing. They practiced on Thanksgiving, so I'd be working anyway. I am happy to be on the sideline covering a game on Christmas rather than just, going to watch practice. This is like the next best thing.
Yeah,
I'm being at home with my family.
I'm with you on that. There is something special about covering games on holidays that everybody else is off and then all the attention's on your team. I did it on Thanksgiving. Brooke Pryor doing it today, covering the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1 p.m. kickoff on Netflix. When they're trying to break a 2-game losing streak, the loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, followed up by the loss to the Baltimore Ravens last week. The AFC North title still very much in reach here over the final 2 weeks. What needs to change for them to get back in the win column today?
I think the biggest thing that needs to change is they need to get some of those injured guys back, which good news, that's happening. George Pickens off the injury report, as is Deshaun Elliott, Larry Ogunjobi, Dante Jackson. And I think the two biggest guys that are going to that have to be more involved in order to kind of change the momentum of this team right now are George Pickens and Deshaun Elliott. Deshaun Elliott's a guy that I think is very much gone under the radar, at least outside of Pittsburgh, but those in the building know that he is a glue guy for this defense, not only because of the tangible things that he does. He has good form when he tackles. He was the leading tackler on this team until his injury, dealing with a hamstring issue. And he's just been in the right spot, has a bunch of turnovers, bunch of forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, but he also has this attitude that he's a hard hitter. He has a lot of energy, good communicator, and that's what's really been missing these last 2 weeks when they gave up, I believe, nearly 200 yards to Derrick Henry. Week before, Saquon didn't necessarily have, a 100-yard gain, but the Eagles were able to move the ball at will. And then offensively, this offense just has not been able to find a replacement for George Pickens, which is understandable. He is one of one, as Russell Wilson has said pretty often, but they don't have another credible vertical threat to stretch the field, which then has condensed everything. The run game ranks 31st in the league at 3.9 yards per carry, despite being top 10 in volume. So it's just been wildly inefficient, and even more so without a real passing game to, make some of these defenses, keep them honest, keep them spread out. So I think that having those two guys back, Pickens on the offense, Elliott on the defense, that should be something that helps turn this team around and keep them from sliding further and ending up with a 3-game losing streak when you really want to have good momentum going into the postseason.
Brooke, how do Steeler fans feel about having a team that is really good but probably isn't great and probably isn't a real bona fide Super Bowl contender?
I think it's frustrating for Steelers fans, not only because this team doesn't necessarily feel like a bona fide Super Bowl contender, but when you look at, the history of this organization, they have all of these Super Bowl trophies, but it's been a while since they've added a new one to the trophy case, but it's also been a while since they've even won a single playoff game. The last time they won a playoff game was 2016, and I think that this is a fan base that is really restless to change that because of the standard that was set by Mike Tomlin early in his tenure, picking up where Cowher left off, and I think that there is just a restlessness that, okay, great, we get it. You have a 500 season or, slightly above. You might win some AFC North. That's great, but we don't get anything added to the trophy case for that. That's not a banner for this organization and for this fan base. And so I think that, yes, this team has outperformed external expectations as far as, what Vegas was setting their win total line at, things like that. But I think that this fan base is like, okay, we're tired of being good. We want to have a credible Super Bowl team. It looked like that maybe that was the direction this team was going, especially after those back-to-back wins against the Bengals and the Browns. But the last 2 weeks really showed that these Steelers, at least the way that they were constructed those weeks, are not capable of playing against the top teams in each division, in each conference.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Pittsburgh Steelers, joining us here on Unsportsmanlike ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Speaking of things that Steelers fans are tired of, I'm sure at the top of that list is this red zone offense and the red zone turnovers and the pick six that Russell Wilson threw last week against the Baltimore Ravens, in addition to that fumble. Can you talk me into them getting out of this rut that they've been in for 16 weeks of the season with this red zone offense? Can it look any different starting today as they gear up towards the postseason?
Right. Is it a rut if it's happened all season? It feels like this is one of the fatal flaws of this team, that maybe they can move the ball outside of the red zone, but they get in the red zone and they just stall out. Chris Boswell has had a great season, but I think he would maybe prefer to be used a little bit less. I don't know how his leg isn't falling off, but I think that having George Pickens back, they did seem to kind of get on a roll in the red zone in the 2 games right before Pickens was injured. They were scoring a little bit more often at that point, but I think that it just seems like when things get condensed, they lose their minds a little bit. Sometimes it feels like Arthur Smith's play calls get a little too cute, and I think you just do what got you there, run the ball more efficiently. I think there have been some struggles in the offensive line that have really kind of come back to bite them in those situations, for as good as, some of these young guys are, Zach Frazier, Mason McCormick, Roderick Jones. They just are not executing consistently in the red zone. And Russell Wilson hasn't had many turnovers, but the 2 he had last week were incredibly costly. You don't bring in Russell Wilson for turnovers. Obviously, you don't bring in a quarterback at all for turnovers, but the upside of Russ was that he was a veteran guy that was not going to turn the ball over, that was going to play smart football. Each of his turnovers last week were just not smart football plays, and so they're really hoping that he can clean that up, and that was just an aberration and not the start of a really troubling trend.
Brooke, from me and Courtney, please let Russ know something. I know he got these very lavish gifts for the offensive line. We think, based on the red zone touchdown percentage, 30th in the NFL, Russ ought to get a really nice gift for Chris Boswell. I don't care if it's a Louis Vuitton this or an Airbnb gift card that. Like, he ought to get the kicker something nice, because he's been nails all season as part of the reason why the Steelers are where they are.
Absolutely. I think that everyone on the offense should really chip in and give Boz something really nice. I believe he has a baby on the way. Maybe, you renovate a nursery for him, set up a college fund for the kids, something like that. Chris Boswell has been, he's been one of the best kickers in the league for a long time, but this year they have really needed him. He's come through. That's how they beat the Ravens in the first matchup, was all on Chris Boswell's leg. So they could end up needing him again here today. It would not surprise me, and I'm sure he's ready and excited to get out here and kick on Netflix and, be the first kicker to kick a field goal on Netflix. That would be pretty cool.
Brooke, we'll get you out of here on this. The other side of the matchup, some pretty significant injury news coming down from Adam Schefter this morning. Chris Jones not likely to play. He's doubtful to go into this game. That is a big blow to their defensive line. How do you size up what that loss means for the Chiefs and how that could actually play into the Steelers' favor?
Yeah, so I talked with some people in the Chiefs organization this morning about Chris Jones's status and if he would even try to get in a pregame workout to see how he feels. And they said that in this case, with soft tissue injuries like this, a lot of times the team trainers will let the player get to the stadium, check in, see how they feel before deciding if a pregame workout is even worth it, because you don't want to aggravate an injury like this, a calf injury, which I am very familiar with covering after following Russell Wilson's calf injury this season. You don't want to aggravate it and risk it being an even longer-term thing. And I think that that's kind of the key for the Chiefs is that, yes, they are playing to clinch the number one seed, and that would obviously be a huge advantage, not only home game, but also having that first-round bye. But I think that they're looking, their eyes are on a bigger goal here than beating the Steelers and then clinching the number one seed this week. They want to get all these guys healthy, and so I think that they're going to end up being more cautious with a guy like Chris Jones because he is so incredibly important to their success. And yes, if he doesn't play, that's huge for the Steelers' run game because, like I said, they are incredibly inefficient. Chris Jones would be a big reason that would continue to keep them inefficient there, clogging up the middle of the field. And also, I have to think Russell Wilson would be very relieved to not see giant defensive tackle coming at him because while Chris Jones doesn't have the sack numbers, he's still capable of producing. I believe he has over 20 quarterback hits this season. And the interior of the Steelers' offensive line has been one of their weaknesses. And I have to imagine that he would just slice through that if he were playing. So I think that that's something that definitely works out in the Steelers' favor today.
Chiefs looking for win number 15 on the season. Steelers at home looking to stop a losing streak that right now is at 2. Brooke Pryor will be all over it for ESPN.com as part of ESPN's NFL Nation this afternoon. Brooke, thank you. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, Brooke.
Merry Christmas, guys.
All right, 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Dr. Pepper call-in line is open. We'll put a bow on everything, proverbially, here on Christmas. Let us know if you were headed to any of these games today, part of the NBA quintuple header on Christmas Day. 2 massive NFL games also coming your way. That is coming up next, but first, Aaron's got this from Vivid Seats.
That's right, Vivid Seats, your ultimate football destination for all the gridiron action this holiday season with a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets. They make it super easy for every fan to watch their favorite team and players in action. See every tackle, every great toe drag catch, touchdown live from in person in your favorite seat, plus every ticket backed by 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every single purchase. So don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
ESPN Radio, home of the World Series.
The Dodgers are World Series champions.
The NBA Finals.
The Celtics, the 2024 NBA champions.
And the College Football National Championship.
Michigan has won the College Football National Championship.
This is ESPN Radio. The College Football Playoff has arrived. Georgia versus Notre Dame.
There's a different feel to the playoff.
Boise State versus Penn State.
The stakes get much higher.
Oregon versus Ohio State.
The intensity that gets ratcheted up.
Arizona State versus Texas.
The magic continues.
The College Football Playoff quarterfinals.
You can feel the electricity.
New Year's Eve and New Year's Day on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. The NBA on Christmas Day on ESPN Radio. First in New York, the Spurs face the Knicks.
One thing I would like from Santa would be a win.
Then in Dallas, the Mavericks welcome the Timberwolves.
Relax, it's Christmas.
Tip-off of the Spurs and Knicks is at noon Eastern.
Hey, it's Christmas. You can do what you want on Christmas.
Followed by the Timberwolves and Mavericks.
Put that Christmas gift away.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
A Christmas Day doubleheader on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC.
Buckle up and get ready
for all the heart.
College basketball better than ever. This is must-watch television.
And all the love.
The most electrifying players in the nation.
For all the moments.
My goodness, a show-stopping highlight.
And all we are. Come for it all. ACC Women's College Basketball. All season long on ACCN.
Amber Indian.
Would that 31-yard field goal, as it hits the uprights, have bounced through the uprights if that kicker was in a New York Jets uniform? And it bounces in if he's a Chiefs kicker.
Look,
because that's the black magic that the Chiefs somehow are practicing. I can't figure it out, but I'm telling you, that's how it's working.
Amber Indian. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on SiriusXM Channel 80. It's bowl season on ESPN Radio. 25 bowl games, including the college football playoff and national championship game.
Touchdown! The electricity, the atmosphere.
This is why you do what you do. This college football season has been nothing short of magical.
Coverage continues tomorrow with the Ray Bowl at 5 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
It's the beauty of college football.
30 for 30 presents the New York Sack Exchange.
Flecko, Lyon, Salam, Gastineau.
If you hit a quarterback and if they got up, you didn't do your job.
They were a brotherhood.
There is no magic formula for controlling the New York Sack Exchange.
But brothers don't always play nice.
Flacco could not stand me.
I should be waiting all day for you.
We'll get down on the stairs.
I don't know what you were doing.
Out.
I'm still trying to forgive and forget.
Stream the New York Sack Exchange now on ESPN Plus. Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
So it's almost 10 a.m. on the East Coast, and I imagine if you have little ones, your Christmas gift opening has already happened. I know that I have friends whose kids wake them up at the absolute crack of dawn, if not earlier when it's still dark out on Christmas morning. That's
for sure.
Like, I can't remember doing that as a kid, though. I loved my sleep. I love my sleep now. I don't get enough of it.
We're getting old because we keep going to when we were kids, we had to wait until 8 to open up our Christmas
My parents had a hard and fast rule about that. Like, if it's before 7 a.m., don't even bother because the answer is going to be no. So I would imagine that if you have that rule, God bless you this morning here on Christmas. It's Unsportsmanlike. Courtney Cronin, Aaron Goldhammer sitting in for Evan Canty and Michelle on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Yeah.
Like, you got to set boundaries with these little ones and let them know that the gifts are still going to be there. Santa already came. The milk and cookies are gone. There's proof of it. That you can let mom and dad, who are probably taking PTO this morning or might have to go into work in a little bit, you can let them sleep in a little bit. And you can just play on your Nintendo Switch or whatever else the kids want these days.
I mean, look,
until it's gift time.
Santa respects patience. And if you aren't patient now, it's not going to hurt you for this Christmas. Yeah. But the elf on the shelf is already watching, and it might affect you for next Christmas. So careful there with the way you play it. I feel like this is a day where kids just run the show, and we have a lot of people listening and watching right now whose kids woke them up at 5 o'clock in the morning and started opening presents. Were you allowed one present on Christmas Eve? What was your Christmas Eve
We
gift
used
story?
to do Christmas Eve with my dad's family, and then Christmas Day was with with my mom's family. So it was a little bit of both. We never got like the one gift thing though, because there's just a very slippery slope there where it's like, oh, let me get the one gift and then let me do it another day. And then by the time you get to Christmas, there's probably no presents left. But that's a good strategy. I mean, you're Jewish. You celebrate Hanukkah. Tonight is also the first night of Hanukkah. So happy holidays, happy Hanukkah to those of you who are celebrating that. Was it really one gift a day for 7 days in your household? Is that how it works?
But the first night, the gift would be like something good. Like, I get a new Nuggets jersey or whatever. I grew up in Denver. By the time you got to the 8th night, you were getting like the obscure generic board game. Like the gifts got progressively worse. So you open something, and the last night you got like an apple. You know, it was like so there were 8 gifts. You also got to remember. So my parents one night, you had grandparents, you had aunts, uncles, maybe a sibling. So if you spread all that stuff out, you get 1 gift per night over 8 days. The other thing to remind everybody, Hanukkah gets a lot of juice because it happens right around Christmas. It is not the biggest Jewish holiday, and it is not even the biggest gift-giving Jewish holiday, to be honest, in a lot of sectors of the religion. So, I appreciate the happy Hanukkah wishes, but it's not, I don't go home for Hanukkah. I don't stop my life for Hanukkah.
All right. Want to get one of these calls in real quick ahead of our NFL slate today. Chiefs and Steelers, Ravens and Texans. Deborah in New Jersey, you going to watch this NFL takeover on Christmas Day?
Hi, Courtney and Aaron. Unfortunately, I am. However, I don't like that the NFL is trying to hijack Christmas Day from the NBA. I'm a huge NBA fan. I'm a huge NFL fan. I'm a huge Chiefs fan. I'm going to watch the halftime show with Beyonce, but I just think that how people seem to treat Thanksgiving for the NFL, as a sacred holiday, they should do the same thing for the NBA.
Hey, Deborah, we appreciate the call. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Aaron, I know you align with that. I'm just here for the Beyonce concert. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have a stake in either of these games. I'm pumped for the playoff-style matchups and playoff implications within these games, but I'm just here to watch Beyonce in Houston.
To clarify, the NFL isn't trying to hijack Christmas.
Oh,
the
they've
NFL
done it.
has hijacked Christmas Day.
Unsportsmanlike is presented by Progressive Insurance. For a job you'll love, visit progressive.com/careers. We've got to get out of here. I'm going over to Greenie. Aaron's going to go watch the Bob Dylan movie. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Everybody.
We'll see you tomorrow here on Unsportsmanlike.
Adam Schefter here with Vivid Seats. We've got some late-breaking news coming out of the stands. According to multiple sources, Vivid Seats fans are scoring rewards on every purchase and at a rapid pace. Obviously, these rewards are a game changer, and coupled with their MVP-worthy ticket selection, why get tickets anywhere else? Don't drop the ball this season. Shop with Vivid Seats and earn rewards on every ticket. And as the official ticketing partner of ESPN, Vivid Seats is offering you $20 off your first $200 ticket purchase with code Schefter. That's code Schefter.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
This holiday season, you can help light the way for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities by donating to DSC's Tree of Hope. The Tree of Hope is more than just a symbol of light. It's a beacon of possibility. Each light on the tree represents hope and a step towards a brighter future for people with disabilities. Visit dsc-illinois.org to make your donation before January 31st. Join in today to be part of the hope that shines brightly for all. dsc-illinois.org.
Kelsey Furniture in downtown Tuscola sells Tempur-Pedic beds. What's it like?
I'm going to tell you right now, Stevie, that thing is the best thing I've ever slept on in my life. My wife and I both have said we've never had better night's sleep. And the people at Kelsey's were fantastic. Brian is the guy that helped us. As much as I did my research, he has a world of knowledge about beds themselves. Oh, man, it's like sleeping on a cloud, man.
Kelsey Furniture, downtown Tuscola.
In 1925, a small plumbing company began its journey in Urbana, Illinois. Over the decades, the business grew thanks to hard work and great people. In 1966, things changed when Dave Reichard, a veteran, met veteran Ken Asklin, who was an architectural engineering grad from Illinois. The two realized their shared vision for excellence. Their partnership took root, and in 1975, the name changed to A&R Mechanical. With Dave as president and Ken as vice president, A&R Mechanical expanded services, becoming the go-to full-service contractor for all of Central Illinois. A&R went from a plumbing-only contractor to a full-service mechanical contractor with their own sheet metal shop. Today, A&R is a plumbing, heating, ventilation service company with the same excellence in customer service as they provided nearly 100 years ago. Design, build, and maintain. That's what served A&R Mechanical for nearly 100 years. Find them at Lincoln and Kettering in Urbana or online at ar-mech.com.
Hello, my name is Amber Oberheim, and I am a family nurse practitioner at OSF Healthcare in Monticello. The United States appears to be on track to experience a typical respiratory virus season this year. The CDC is predicting that combined peak hospitalizations from COVID-19, influenza, and RSV this fall and winter will be similar to or lower than last year. The best way that you can protect yourself from the flu is to make sure that you get vaccinated every year. All Americans ages 6 months and older are recommended to get a flu shot. Younger children and older adults are most at risk of serious illness from the flu. Another effective way to prevent respiratory illness is to make sure that you have excellent hand washing. If you do start feeling ill, I recommend that you stay home to prevent infecting others and reach out to your healthcare provider to get tested. COVID-19 and the flu can present similarly, and it's important to make sure that you have the right treatment options available. At OSF Healthcare, we're doing even more to help you be the healthiest you. Learn more at osfhealthcare.org.
Got a plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, or sewer problem? Look no further than Fred's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electric.